I'm Amber Davies and welcome to Call to Stage. This is the space where musical theatre takes centre stage. From unforgettable backstage stories with incredible special guests to insights from my life and my theatre journey. We're leaving it all on the mic every single week, so let's jump in. Hi guys, welcome back to Call to Stage with me, Amber Davies. I actually can't cope with who's sitting next to me right now. I thought, let me just message her and just see if she'd be interested. And when I got the response of absolutely, yeah, I'll come, I had heart palpitations. It's the incredible Alice Fearn.
Oh, darling, how are you?
I'm good.
You're right.
I can't.
I'm just obsessed with your outfit today.
Do you know where it's from?
No, go on.
Ugg.
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really good.
Do you like it?
But that's quite shocking for, like, not as in shocking for UGG, but I thought it was just always like, you know, lots of really,
shoes.
Well, shoes, but be like stuff that's like for cold weather.
Look at that.
But look at that.
It was
and
amazing.
It's quite warm
find.
today out, and you're nailing it.
Thank you. You look gorgeous too. I love that you're in green.
I know. Oh my God, yes. I know. I could just never wear it ever again, basically, because otherwise I get that comment. Oh, you're in green.
But thank you so much for giving me 40 minutes of your time.
It's a pleasure, Treasure. Pleasure, Treasure.
I really thought, let me just see if she'd fancy doing it.
I know.
Because
if I'm free, I'd love to, because it's just basically a lovely chat, isn't it, darling?
Yeah, it is.
With the coffee.
It's a therapy session, basically. The first time I ever met you, we did a concert together.
Yes, it was at Cadogan Hall, wasn't it?
It was.
But you were obviously a good friend of my Glinda when I was in Wicked, Sophie Evans, my lovely friend. And you've known her for years, right?
Years. She lived with my sister.
Yeah. So obviously when we were all in one dressing room together doing a gig at Cadogan Hall, you know, Sophie just introduced me to everyone and we were like, oh yeah, you know, because listen, I know you, but I don't know you from the TV.
Yeah.
Show that shall not be named. But I don't know you from that. Do you know what I mean? I basically just know you from Sophie, which I think is quite nice.
I love that.
There's no sort of prerequisite of how you're going to be or anything like that. I just know you through Sophie, and she's, you know,
she's a dream.
Welsh dreams.
Welsh dreams. I just remember you being, because all the girls were in the same dressing room, and I remember thinking, I can't make eye contact with her.
So ridiculous.
I can't. Do I contact her? Like, do I speak to you through your agent? Like, how do we go about
this? Bless you.
Right. I start every single ep with a question.
I'm screaming at that. Every single ep. Yeah. Love you. Yeah.
With, what's your pre-show ritual? Now you can choose any role that you've ever done. Mm-hmm. So maybe Elphaba, what was your pre-show ritual? Or anything just a little bit ski whiff that you do that you think...
Well, do you know what? When I'm doing a really big role, I think, obviously, I do have a sort of plan of action of how I get ready for it. However, what I will say is that there's one thing that is consistent through everything I do. And it's to have my iPad on and to have something playing that makes me feel like I'm at home in my living room. And the reason why I do that is because I like to try and rest my brain and not get stressed about what's ahead of me. Because if you're not feeling great or you're not feeling 100% or you're feeling particularly tired today or you've got people in and that stresses you out, you know, all these different things. Or you've got an early start, so you're worried about how I'm going to cope tonight with my early start tomorrow. You know, all these little things that sort of trick your brain into getting you stressed out and letting the anxiety grow. I don't like those things. I don't want them to come into my head at all. I want to be able to do my show and relax.
Yeah.
So to get relaxed within that first half an hour is really important to me, especially the half. So I put on something on the TV. Now, that can be, if tennis is on, I'm a massive tennis fan. It's embarrassing.
Are you? Because we've just had Regina Castle on.
Yes,
and Andrew
of course.
Castle.
Yeah, well, they actually came to see it when I was in Wicked, and I met Andrew. So I was sort of a big fan of that because I was like, because I listen to him basically all the time. Yeah, so I'm a huge tennis fan. So if tennis is on, I'll be watching the tennis.
Right, okay.
Okay, that'll just walk on. I can just like watch that, zone out, go onto stage, and probably ask my dresser to give me a clue on the score every now and again.
Okay.
Otherwise, if there's nothing like that on, I've got an episode of Friends on.
Really?
Yeah, because I've grown up with it. I've known it all my life. It makes me laugh. But I basically know every scene. I don't really have to think about it too much. I don't get overly invested. I just laugh and think they're friends of mine.
And they are a comfort, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
All of them.
Especially to sort of my generation. So yeah, so I just watch an episode of Friends and just chill doing that. And so
I can just imagine you getting painted green, just watching.
Honestly, it's just there, getting painted green.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah. And I don't sort of have any hot drinks or anything or do any of that kind of stuff. I just let myself just sort of zone out with the water and
I love
That's
that.
what I do. Yeah.
I'm literally obsessed with that. Because I always think, you know, if you are a tiny bit stressed or anxious, it affects your voice. It affects your performance, doesn't it?
I think for me, what it does is like tighten my voice.
Yes.
And so I feel like, and sort of all these muscles, because when you have stress or anxiety, it tends to go to your shoulders quite a lot. Now, as soon as it goes to your shoulders, it goes to your neck, and then of course it affects your voice. So I don't enjoy that feeling, because inevitably the roles that I've ended up playing, especially the last 10 years, have been things that are sort of extremes of the voice. And so I need it to be able to go there. And if I have anything that's holding me back, I'm then having a very stressful time in the show, and I just don't need it.
No. Right. Can I just please read out some of the things that Alice has done?
I mean, gosh, are we going back the full 20 years here, darling? Because we could be here for some time.
The whole ep is going to be over by the time I get to 2024. So I'm just going to rattle through them. The Woman in White, that was your debut.
That was debut, yeah.
As cover Laura.
Yes.
Cover Cosette and Fontaine.
Yep.
You know, that's wild to me that you covered Cosette and Fontaine and then went on to play Elphaba. Like, that's versatility.
Yes, back in the day, I actually had a soprano. Yeah, the top sop. Yeah.
That's like you worked hard at college type energy,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Really listened to those singing lessons.
Really listened. Rapunzel, Into the Woods at Regents Park Open Air Theatre alongside Hannah Waddingham.
Yeah, I know. I knew Hannah before Hannah was Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso. Yeah. She was my mother. She played my mother. She played the witch. And so the witch is sort of like the mother of Rapunzel in that show. And I loved her then. She's exactly the person that she is that we all know now. She was it back then. And every time I see her, even now, she'll just scream, "Daughter!" and yeah, and it's just mother. So it's mother-daughter from here on out. Yeah, I love her. She's amazing.
That. Original cast of Shrek the Musical.
Yep.
Elphaba. Standby. You were standby, and then
I was standby. I think you've missed one out. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Please don't forget Dirty Rotten
Sorry,
Scoundrels.
this is just.
It's okay. It's a mash.
Okay, yeah.
Smash.
Okay.
The Dirty Rotten. Was
Dirty
in
Rotten.
There.
If I miss one, you insert it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's been anything else. There's been little things, but I think those are the big West End ones. Yeah.
That's only till 2017.
That's 17, and then Oliver at the Watermill.
Okay.
And then it was Wicked was 2016. To 2019. So that took my life over for 3 years.
So standby to actually playing the role.
Yeah.
What was that jump like?
I have to say that, in my opinion, and I mean, obviously it's only my opinion, other people will say it, but I think that's a slightly nicer way of doing it.
Okay.
Because you're slightly more prepped for what that job entails. You're not fully prepped, like suddenly going from, 1, 2, 3 shows a week to suddenly doing all 8 relentlessly is
I've
not
heard you
the
were a
same
machine
thing.
though.
Well,
Come on.
I mean,
Come
yes,
on.
I was always there. Very rarely was I off. Holidays, and sometimes my back went or my neck went, and you do get ill. But yeah, I was there. I didn't really.
You were
I
committed
could
to
do
the
8
8 show week.
I could do 8.
Easy.
Easy's a difficult word to use against it. I would say, listen, give me about 4 or 5 months in, and I was like, yeah, I can do 8.
Okay.
It wasn't as difficult as it was at first.
Muscle memory.
Yeah, absolutely, and actually it got easier as I went on, because the muscles go, oh, I know what this is exactly. Sometimes, and this is wild, but I really do mean it, I didn't even really have to warm up, because I don't think my body ever really, or my voice ever really went to sleep. It was always ready for it.
Active mode.
And actually then when you went on holiday, even for 3 days, or like if you went on for a week, coming back, your first night was fantastic, but then you were like, it was like you had to build it all the way back up. Yeah, all the way up again. So to be honest, just relentlessly doing it 8 shows a week without having a break was actually sort of easier, which is wild, isn't it?
It is wild, because there is an Elphaba theory, isn't there? That I think it's either one way or the other. You can sing it and kind of emotionally disconnect from like your vocal health, or it can take over your life and you can build a complex, the Elphaba complex.
Yes, I think once you've let that in, I imagine it is very hard to get rid of it. That kind of idea of, oh my gosh, I had a difficult show tonight. Can I do it
tomorrow?
Will I be able to do it tomorrow? And I think that is a scary place to get to, because as I say, it's a relentless show and it's a relentless sing. And if you've let anything mentally come in, yeah, that is it's going to be a challenge to let that slide and get rid of that. I just was quite lucky, and I think the standby thing taught me, okay, so that's what it is. I mean, I remembered the first show that I went on, with the lovely Oliver Saville that you've had on the show and who you're working with now. And it was the night after the 10th anniversary.
Okay.
So I went on and I had an absolute blazing headache because, of course, I'd had a couple of Prosecco's the night before, not thinking I was going to be on.
Okay.
And absolutely went, okay, it's happening tonight, no problem. I mean, the next day after that, I'll never forget Ollie's hug after that. He grabbed me and held me so tightly because I just started to cry. And I'm not a crier in that way. But I burst into tears. He just grabbed me because he's standing to my left, grabbed me and held me so tightly. And I just couldn't believe the next day, darling, it was like I'd done a marathon. I could not walk. Getting up, every part of my body ached and I was exhausted. Yeah. Luckily, Rachel came back. Rachel Tucker was playing at the time. She came back and I actually went in and went, thank you, because I can't possibly do it again tonight. And I think that held me in good stead because I went, okay, so that's what it is. And you end up building yourself a bit of a stamina.
Yeah.
Which then, once I took over, I think, helped me a lot.
And what about a 2-show day? 2-show Elphaba day? Like, I just can't quite imagine it.
Yeah, I think you get used to be honest, it was quite nice because you just didn't have to worry about degreening too quickly. So you would have it on and then you'd be like, yeah, so it's here for the day now, pretty much.
Would you hold back in places in the matinee? Or would you adapt?
I think you adapt it slightly. It depends on how you feel at that time. But I remember we did a double once and must have been a Christmas sort of time. Yeah. And we had double and I couldn't get, so I chose to have a full day off. So they obviously give you, if you've got too many shows, if you've got 9 shows, they give you the 9th off.
Of course.
But it's like you pick that show in the week. So they would say, do you want one of the matinees off? And I'd be like, no, I'd actually rather do matinee, have a full day off.
Yes.
And that was some people what? You know what I mean? You're going to do double. I think Mel LeBarry, who was my Madame Morrible, was you're going to do double. I was like, yeah, I think I can do it. And then you came back and did another double. But I think that for me, I was already there and I was already, for me, because doing a show didn't tire my voice. It was tiring, but it didn't tire my voice. So therefore doing 2 wasn't sort of any worse than doing 1.
Okay. So you're warm.
Because I was already there. Yeah. So for me, having the full day off to recover and sort of have a lie down
and have no agenda.
Yeah, was a better option for me. So yeah, as I say, but then I had a voice that I sang that show and it didn't, as I say, it didn't affect it, didn't tire it.
I think that's up here. That's a here thing.
Maybe. I think maybe it's a bit of 50-50. I think some people sing in a way that can tire it, which is just how they sing. And when you do in a show that's that extreme and a vocal track that's that extreme, obviously that is going to affect you. But for me, technically, I'm such a technically minded person. I knew when something was tiring it or not. And so I change it and adapt it.
Wow.
So that I wasn't tiring it out. I would still be able to growl here and there or, do something. But I would make sure that I went, I could do that 5 times and that's not going to tire it. Whereas if I did it that way, I'm going to get tired from doing that. So that's come from
experience.
I suppose experience and knowing it. And I have to say, Shrek taught me loads.
Did it?
Yeah, because I did Gingy in Shrek.
Yeah.
And I was first cover Fiona. But the Gingy voice in Shrek was without doubt my hardest vocal track I've ever done. Yeah. Because I had a nightmare on it. I used to cry at the end of shows because it was so exhausting. And if you had a cold, because I put my Gingy voice really up there in my, there. If I had a cold, I couldn't do that. So then I'd rely on my throat. Right. Or if I had anything wrong with me, basically, hay fever, So then I'd be like, I'm really struggling here and I can't get that voice out. And it would become so I learned a lot doing that show because I had to adapt my voice and try new things out doing that. And that was 5 years before I did Elphaba.
I just think though, that is a perfect example of you're always at the right place at the right time. That was meant to happen.
Potentially, yeah.
I'm a firm believer in things like that.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, don't get me wrong, I loved Shrek and it taught me loads and it was a wonderful, wonderful show and so ridiculous. But yes, it had its hard moments for me a lot of the time. And it taught me a lot about my voice and what I was capable of and actually what you have to do in order to get through an 8-show week with different things you have to achieve.
That is literally insane. I just can't believe you did a double Elphaba. I actually think you're a bit crackers.
I chose it as well. I had a choice.
That is
I had a choice.
You have some serious problems. You are unwell. And then Captain Beverley Bass in Come From Away.
Yes.
Did you love that?
Oh my goodness, how could you not? Did you see the show?
I didn't
Did you
see
ever
it.
Oh
I never
my God,
saw
it's
it,
amazing.
but I remember following you and watching you on social media thinking, this woman loves playing this role.
Oh, it
I
was
just had a
amazing.
vibe. You had a vibe.
Yeah, I loved it. God, what an amazing role. If you get to see it, please do, because it is the most special show. And I didn't know much about it at the time when I was up for it.
Yeah.
And I actually thought, I'm far too young for this. I'm never going to get it. And then they got it, and I was just sort of like, wow, like started using more moisturizer because I thought, oh my God, I must look that age. I didn't think I was anywhere near it. But yeah, and they just didn't care about it. They said, no, you've got the right attitude. And so when we started, I suddenly went, oh, this show's spectacular.
Yeah.
And the role is very me. It's very, she's very powerful. She's very strong-willed. She doesn't let anything particularly stand in her way, which I felt I connected to quite a lot. But also on top of that, she's not just hard and a steel exterior. She loves her family, she loves her country, and she loves flying planes and making sure the people that she's flying are safe. And she wants to make and all of that. I just went, gosh, that's amazing. So outside all of that, you're still a human being, and you're not afraid to show that. And that role didn't, it showed everything about her, and I loved that about it.
Do you think that is the closest role to you as a person that you've played?
Probably in terms of how she handles herself. Yes, she's not afraid to be a woman in a man's world, and neither am I.
Yeah.
And I don't particularly get offended by, maybe that it is a man's world or they get paid more. You just sort of sit there and you go, no, okay, that you might do. I'm going to fight that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be ashamed of fighting it, and I'm not going to, sort of crow about it. I'm just going to fight it.
Yeah.
And so, she was very that.
Okay.
Yeah, she and she's kind and lovely. And I met her. Did you know I met her?
No.
So at the end of the show was closing in London in the first week of January 23. And they'd asked me, because the writer was coming over who'd written the music, and they said, would you sing a song with him at the Theatre Cafe just to sort of like celebrate the final weekend of Come From Away in London? I went, of course I will. And what an honour. I'm singing.
Yeah.
He's on the guitar and I'm singing his song that he wrote, screaming, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I was doing this and all the producers were there and we were having a lovely time, and then I was going to interview him straight afterwards. And he stopped after the song and he went, sorry, I just got one thing I want to say. And he said those things, and he said, so I'm actually surprising Alice here and now, because right at the back of the Theatre Cafe stood Beverley Bass. Captain Beverley Bass. She walked through. Oh my God, my scream. I brought the mic up to my mouth and screamed into it because I was so shocked. And I just cried. Then she came and saw the show that night. Yep, we went for
We'll
coffee.
have to get this footage.
It's definitely on YouTube, and I think it's on my Insta. I was so blown away, and thank God I didn't know before I started singing the song.
Oh my God.
Because I would have not been able to cope.
Do you think that's a career highlight, that moment?
Oh, without doubt, because also she was so kind and generous about my portrayal of it. And I didn't know if I needed that. I was like, oh no, I don't know if I need her blessing. And then of course I get it and I go, yeah, I really needed that. Because I needed to know that she was happy with the story I told for, a year and a half.
Of course she was going to be happy.
And she's a huge inspiration, because she's, in terms of aviation and women being pilots, she was the first. To fly commercially.
Wow.
And that's an incredibly important story to tell.
It is.
And she was amazing. Yeah, so that was a huge highlight. So Come From Away sits in my life, will always be top 3 of highlights of all time, because of those things, and because it was the one that bookended the pandemic for me, which meant a lot to come back to theatre, and it was an amazing story to tell after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing but love for Come From Away.
Okay, I'm intrigued to know then what would be your top choice of career highlight, if that's in your top 3, because that's pretty iconic.
Well, I think that, I wouldn't ever like to put like number 1, or people always say, like, what's your number 1? It changes day by day, really. So I like to do a top 3 because it's slightly nicer for me. Without doubt, Come From Away is in that top 3. Wicked is in there as well. And actually Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Really?
Because I love that show. I love farcical comedy, and that was my first real go at being able to do this sort of farcical comedy in a musical theatre setting, and I met my husband on that show.
I love that.
Yeah. So my best friends and then my husband. We weren't like together straight away. We didn't like each other at all. Not in that we didn't like each other. We just didn't fancy each other straight away at all. We were good friends and just like sort of fell in love, towards the end of the contract.
Like in an organic
just a really organic way. And then just went, oh, this is nice. Let's do this.
I always think the best relationships start with a friendship.
Yeah.
You heard
definitely.
it here first.
There you go. I'm proof.
And me.
There we go.
I mean, I'm not married.
No, but you're still in a relationship
yeah.
that's loving and dear to you. It's enough.
It is enough. Right, moving on. You were a part of the star-studded cast in the concert version of Mad Hatter the musical in Montreal.
I was.
I've discovered that this morning and I just thought I must ask you about that.
Well, it was quite random. I mean, I knew the writer because they had a theatre company that comes over here for America that do like a summer program here for 2 weeks for these American students. They come over here and they get taught by industry professionals. And they asked me, they contacted me, can't remember how now, but they contacted me and said, would you mind teaching some of these students for like a masterclass? And I went, of course. I went and met them. And then anyway, went for a coffee afterwards and they told me about this musical. This is years ago now. Told me about this musical they were writing about Mad Hatter. And I found it really interesting because, and they'd only written a couple of songs by this point, but I found it really interesting because I don't know if you know, but how they used to make the hats back in the Victorian era.
Right.
Made them go, because of the way that they made it, it made them go a little bit mad. It changed their brain function. Yeah, it changed that. So
what?
Yeah. So this is true, right? And so they were like, oh, we want to do this story where it's the Mad Hatter, as you know, from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
But he was a hat maker in the Victorian era and he went mad making hats. So at the end of the show, you're not quite sure if he's just gone mad and he's imagining Alice in Wonderland or if he goes into the story as is. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like a play on that whole story.
My gosh, I'm obsessed.
Yeah. And I went, oh my God, that's inspired. Like, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because that's totally, and maybe that was what Alice in Wonderland was originally. I don't know, but who cares? We know it now. It's great. So they wrote this musical and then I stayed in contact and I talked with them for the next year and I'm actually going to do it this year as well. And they said, we've written it. We're going to showcase it in Montreal.
Do you want to come over?
Would you come over and be, and I was like, yeah, ovs. And I've never been to Canada by that point.
Okay.
So I was thrilled. And so I said, yeah, of course, I'll be over there in a heartbeat. And I went over for a weekend. We did the showcase of it. It went down like a house on fire. They've just done a run in Arizona. So they've now set it all up. They've done the workshops and everything. They've done a little run. They're going to do another run. And then, I mean, it's TBC, but I think it's something that they definitely want to bring to London because it's Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter, and we have a connection to the Tea Party scenario kind of thing.
I think it would do amazing here.
Yeah, and the music's great, and I just think, you know, we can play on the whole Victorian thing as well, you know, because we obviously really get that. So
Big Sing.
I mean, nothing's a big sing, darling, after Elphaba. So yes, there is a big song in it, but I mean, it's in Act 2, and I've got all of Act 1 to drink tea.
Okay, I'm obsessed. I mean, I love that. So you ticked off Montreal.
I ticked off Montreal.
Done.
Yeah.
Canada, complete.
Yeah.
Original cast of Then, Now and Next.
Yes.
So I just was looking at this on your Instagram. What is that musical about?
So we have just released the album of that, actually.
Okay,
the cast
I will be
recording,
listening to that tonight.
Then, Now and Next. So that was two friends of mine who I've known for years. John Robbins, who I actually went to drama school with. He was in the year above me, so I've known him for like 20 plus years now.
Okay.
And Christopher J. Orton, who I did Oliver with at the Watermill. He played my Bill. And they wrote this musical, and they again wrote it years ago. And then the pandemic, as the pandemic did, they were so bored. They were like, should we approach this show again? They wrote one song originally.
Okay.
And they said, should we write a show around this one song? And so they did. Basically, Alex, which is the role I played, it's two timelines. One where she was, you know, in her 20s and falling in love with this lovely, wonderful man.
Okay.
And then we cut to the present where she's with someone else. And we realize that she's going through a lot of grief. So she lost her first partner. Okay.
Okay.
And you keep flitting between the two timelines to see basically, but it goes all over the place. So the whole show is like, now you're in, you know, 2007, and then the next scene you're back in 1999. It just flits all over the place in timeline. So you'll keep having to sort of like go, I'm here, I'm back here, I'm back here, and you know, and you're just sort of working through how, because obviously she does recover, and you see that she recovers, but you also see how pained she was at the time, and it's about sort of seeing that journey but cut up and sort of in different moments.
And I mean, why does that sound heartbreaking?
Well, I mean, it is. It's a show about grief, but learning to move on from it. And how you move on from it, and what causes you to move on from it. So it was a beautifully beautiful little show, and very privileged. And the boys were just like, you know, when they wrote it, they just went, we can't hear anyone else but you singing it. So, you know, would you do it? So that's, you know, that's very, you know, touching, isn't it? When you when two friends say that to you. And so it's beautiful.
Well, I'm going to listen to that tonight. And if any of you guys listen to it, that's then, now, and next. Can they listen to it on Spotify?
Yeah, and on all of those sort of like streamy kind of Spotify
Let me know
platforms.
in the comments, what is your favourite song from that soundtrack?
Yeah, beautiful.
Let's do that.
That's lovely.
Let's set a challenge.
Gorgeous.
There's a couple of things I want to talk about. The first one is your next job.
Yeah.
And then I need to talk to you about Ariana Grande following you on Instagram, because I could speak to Alice all day long. So I'm going to have to narrow this down now. And then I've got one question from the public to ask you.
Okay.
So
Firstly,
next gig.
Next gig, Dear Evan Hansen, just been announced.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I knew that you'd got it.
Did you?
I did.
Oh, bless you.
I know. And I was just like, oh my
It's
gosh.
been a hot minute since I found out. So when they were like, we're going to announce it, I was like, oh, finally. Checking my watch, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I really wanted this role. I actually was up for it in town a few years ago when it was in London. I like to think I was just far too young at the time, and that's why I didn't get it. We'll see. But anyway, listen, it came up, and we've just moved house, my husband and I, and it needs a lot of building work. And this tour is basically the perfect moment that the building work starts.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And I sort of went, God, not only is it a job that I want to do, but it means that I'm not there for all that awful building work.
Dust.
Imagine
the dust.
It's not good for your voice, darling. It needs to be away.
Yes.
So So anyway, listen, there was a multitude of reasons why I wanted to do it, and I'm so excited about it. It is a wonderful show. The music is just epic.
Oh, I mean, and as
I
well,
can't wait.
listen, it's such a popular show.
Yeah.
It's going to do so well on tour.
I hope so. Yeah.
I just wanted to touch base on something that you put on your Instagram, and that's you said, I'm embracing my new casting bracket.
Yeah.
Because you're obviously playing Evan's mum.
Yes.
So how does that feel? Like,
Well,
move in your career? Like,
yeah, I've been quite lucky because I think actually Beverley Bass sort of led me into it slightly.
okay.
I mean, Elphaba is very different because you're sort of like playing a teenager, then you're playing sort of like older, and it's kind of strange. It spans so much. But then now next is again that sort of slight hint into I can do young, but I'm sort of mum role, but I had young kid in that. And then this is now, I mean, I've got a teenage child. So I just sort of went, you know, I think I'm very privileged that I feel like I've been able to navigate that well without having too much of a gap.
Yeah.
So, but it is difficult. I have to say that I've just recently turned 40. When I say recently, it's like 6-7 months ago now, so it's not even recent anymore. I can't even play that game.
40th.
Thanks. But I think that was quite hard because you go, oh, there are things now that are absolutely I can't ever do.
Okay.
You know,
that
have passed me by.
Okay.
And that's quite difficult to sort of go, oh my God, am I going to regret that? There's nothing you can do about it. It's gone.
Yeah.
But you go sort of, oh man, you know, I wish I'd have done that and I wish I'd done that. But then what you also have to do is go, yeah, but now you're at the time in your life where you get to play this, you know, and you get to do this.
Yeah.
And you've got to kind of embrace that instead.
It's like your life and your roles go like that. It's like it opens a whole new avenue.
Yeah, it does. And obviously sometimes the worry is you do that and then people can't see you as maybe a 30-something anymore. They go, oh no, you play mums now. So I just hope that's not the case because I'll just
It's fine because I know
moisturizer.
Great injections.
Great injections, lovely. Yeah, thrilled. I'll just keep going there. But it's, I don't know. I think I am really pleased to be doing it because it's a different kind of thing for me.
Yeah.
And it's a different energy. And I'm very pleased to sort of get the chance to do it. So, I'm just pleased I've managed to navigate that as I have done. And do you know what? I love it. I mean, the sentence that came out when the announcement came out is "Mother is mothering."
Mother is mothering.
And do you know what? It's now my tagline.
Yeah.
For at least the next couple of years.
Okay, amazing, amazing. Now I've got to ask, Ariana Grande follows you on Instagram.
Yeah.
Can you just explain to our listeners how that happens?
I might have met her.
Yes.
I might have spent a little bit of time with her.
Okay.
She's adorable, by the way.
Tiny.
I felt like a giantess. And like
mother was mothering.
Mother was mothering. And maybe that's my first moment at it, where it really like clocked in. Yeah, I'm like a size 10. I think I'm quite a decent size 10.
Tiny.
Babe, I literally felt like a whale.
Did you?
Yeah, because like there's
She's tiny
in every way.
So far you might have spent some time with her.
I've spent some time with her.
Oh, you have? Okay. Confirmed it.
We've confirmed I've spent some time with her.
Yeah.
She's adorable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's going to be an amazing Glinda.
Okay. Did you get a selfie with her?
No comment.
Okay. I think we'll pin that, but I think
we'll pin that.
We'll pin that, but that is an iconic moment in life.
It is.
I just heard whispers. Oh my God, Ariana Grande follows Alice, and I thought, oh, I've got to see this for my own eyes. Yeah. And I just thought, like, wow, like playing Elphaba's one thing, but
she's divine. She's absolutely gorgeous. And yes, I even got sent like a couple of hearts when she followed me on a direct message, and honestly, I nearly collapsed.
Did you?
Yeah.
I think maybe screenshot, print, and put it up.
Yeah, basically, just frame it. Frame it for my downstairs bathroom.
Because that is...
It's like, that's, again, iconic.
That should be up there.
It kind of is.
You know...
The amount of people that messaged me when she followed me going, oh, my God, Ariana Grande follows you. Nothing else about it. They didn't care about why, the how. It was just that it was the thing.
It's the thing.
It was the thing.
And it happened last year, right? Yeah. No, this year.
Where am I?
No, it happened this year, 2024.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's all flowing into one, sweetheart, at this point in my life.
I know, darling. I'm with you.
Don't ask me a year.
Okay, I just want one word answers, okay?
Oh, God. Right.
In your career, what is your favourite song you've ever sung?
Oh, my God.
I just want one answer. You can think about it. This does go up on YouTube, though, so it will stay with you forever.
It will stay with me forever. That is quite impossible, mate. Okay.
Instinct, go with what came straight away.
Does it have to be musical theatre?
No.
Okay, it's gonna be Wild. And then when this goes out, I'm going to post a video of me doing it because...
Let's do that.
Because I am actually going to sing it for an old music teacher of mine who is retiring this year. And he introduced me to this. So we're talking 2000, maybe even 1999.
Okay.
Where he introduced me to this song because he was mad on musical theatre. It's not been a musical that was ever very good.
Okay.
Never went anywhere.
Okay.
It's called Little Tramp. You can't even find it on Spotify.
Okay.
But there's a song called He's Got to Be Someone that was originally sung by Leia Salonga.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
That is absolutely beautiful. He played it to me. We used to sing it while I was studying for my A-level music, which absolutely meant nothing because all we wanted to do was sing show tunes.
Okay.
In the music room. And I used to sing that with him. And that, I'm actually about to sing a video for him and send it for his retirement because he still remembers it now.
Oh.
And it is one of my absolute all-time favourite songs. Can I give you one more, though?
Yeah, go on.
It's a Celine Dion.
Oh, of course it is. Go on.
Think twice.
Think twice.
Baby, think twice.
I mean, that is my favourite Celine song. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been my favourite ep.
Yeah, as if, you liar.
No,
you liar.
Mother's life. The mother of mothers. The mother is mothering.
Mother is mothering.
This, I swear, I'm saying it now. This has been my favourite ep.
She says that at the end of every episode.
No, I don't. But thank you so much for coming. And thank you for listening.
Mwah, mwah.